We are diving deep into the actual psychology of personality transformation. So let's just jump right in. Okay, be honest with me for a second here. Do you ever just look in the mirror and feel kind of trapped? Like you're stuck in your current personality? Maybe you really want to be more social, way more confident, or just a better communicator, but you are totally unsure of how to break out of autopilot. You know the feeling, reacting the same way, day in and day out, stuck in those exact same old patterns. Well, if that sounds like you are exactly in the right place. But before we get into the actual techniques, I've got to hit you with a hard scientific truth. 18 months. Real permanent personality transformation is not some overnight hack you see on social media. I'm definitely not going to mislead you here. True, lasting psychological change is a gradual process, and it takes about a year and a half at the very earliest. So, as we go through this, you've got to commit to being patient and giving yourself some grace for the long haul. All right, which brings us to our starting line. Phase 1, mastering your external persona. Now, it might sound a bit backwards to start with the outside when we're talking about deep psychology, but we actually have to begin this journey from the outside in. Your physical posture directly impacts both how you perceive yourself and how the rest of the world treats you. Think about slouching versus standing tall. When you slouch, you are literally signaling to your own brain, and to everyone in the room, that you lack confidence. But standing tall, that signals confidence and instantly commands respect. This physical shift is absolutely the easiest way to jumpstart changing your internal state. And building on that physical presence, we really need to talk about how you operate in physical space. These things might seem like just basic manners, right? Using polite language, respecting people's personal space, actually showing up on time, and please putting the phone away in social settings. But honestly, there's so much more than that. These basic etiquette rules are the foundation for empathy and emotional intelligence. They instantly make you someone people want to be around, purely because you're showing them that you respect their time and their presence. How you present yourself feeds directly into how you communicate. There's this fantastic quote from Philip Pullman that perfectly captures it. After food, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Storytelling is literally a fundamental human need. If you want to rewire your personality to be more charismatic, you have got to learn the art of storytelling. The narrative you weave fundamentally shapes how the world perceives you. So now that we've got the external basics locked down, let's go deeper. Phase 2, rewiring your inner psychology. To actually achieve that massive 18-month transformation, we have to rewrite our subconscious programming. And that brings us to a really crucial concept, metacognition. Simply put, it means thinking about your own thoughts. It is an incredibly powerful tool for self-awareness. Think about highly self-aware communicators, someone like Shah Rukh Khan, who can just effortlessly speak to anyone about literally anything. They use this deep self-reflection to define their identity. They aren't just coasting on autopilot. They are acutely aware of how they think and how they learn. So, how do we actually practice this in real life? It's brilliantly simple, really. Just 4 questions for a daily, end-of-day journaling habit. 1. What went right today? 2. What went wrong? 3. How did I feel about it? And 4, what could be done differently next time? That's it. Answering these 4 questions every single night yanks you off autopilot and actively fires up your metacognition. But why does this daily check-in actually work? Well, it all comes down to neuroplasticity. This is your brain's physical ability to strengthen new neural pathways through repeated habits, while letting the old ones you don't want anymore just wither away. When you use visualization and affirmations, you are physically altering your brain's chemistry. It ties into self-perception theory. When you continually affirm your new identity, your subconscious actually starts to believe it, and it literally alters those physical neural pathways in your head. To really make neuroplasticity work for you, though, you need a system. This framework comes straight out of James Clear's Atomic Habits, the cue, routine, reward loop. Let's say you want to become a much more confident communicator. The cue is identifying that you want to make that shift. The routine is practicing speaking out loud, maybe just for 15 minutes in your car before work every day. And the reward? That's celebrating when you finally nail that confident conversation you've been dreading. You've got to break your identity shift down into these small, totally achievable actions. Now, changing daily habits is one thing, but overcoming deep-seated fears, that requires something a bit more intense: exposure therapy. This is all about deliberately confronting your fears to alter that deeply ingrained conditioning and stretch your comfort zone. You have to purposefully do uncomfortable things. Maybe that means going to a networking event totally alone, or volunteering for something terrifying at work, like public speaking. By actively challenging your brain's ancient survival mechanisms and replacing old fears with new positive experiences, you basically fast-track your personality transformation and massively boost your risk tolerance. Once you start conquering those fears, we cross into phase 3, building strong character traits. A huge part of building real, unshakable character is how you frame the world around you. Psychologist Martin Seligman developed this brilliant concept called learned optimism. It's this idea that optimism isn't just some genetic lottery you win at birth, it's a skill. It can be cultivated by actively challenging your own negative self-talk and deliberately focusing on positive outcomes. Honestly, this is the absolute foundation for becoming a highly appealing, solution-oriented person. The crucial shift is perfectly highlighted right here. You basically have two choices when you hit a wall in life. You can hold on to that old victim mindset, whining about the roadblock and asking, why am I so unlucky? Or, and this is the game changer, you adopt the new learned optimism mindset and simply ask, okay, what can I do about this? Being solution-oriented is a massive magnetic personality shift that just naturally draws people toward you. And you know, part of drawing people toward you is just being genuinely interesting to talk to. The secret? You don't need to know everything about everything. If you spend just 20 to 30 minutes a day studying maybe 2 or 3 distinct topics, say spreading your time evenly across psychology, women's issues, and wellness, you build up what experts call cognitive flexibility. You start to naturally draw fascinating connections across completely different fields, which lets you converse effortlessly with almost anyone you meet. Underpinning literally all of this learning and growth is a concept popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, the growth mindset. This is the core belief that your abilities and your intelligence aren't just fixed at birth. They can be developed over time through sheer dedication and hard work. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate psychological tool for overcoming massive obstacles in your life. And if you want real-world proof of what a true growth mindset can conquer, look no further than Sudha Chandran. She is a highly renowned Indian classical dancer who faced an unimaginably devastating physical challenge. She actually lost her leg in a road accident when she was just 18. But because of her immense dedication and her rock-solid growth mindset, she went on to become a celebrated dancer using a prosthetic leg. I mean, if she can overcome that level of adversity to achieve her dreams, it really puts our own journey of just changing our personality into perspective, doesn't it? All right, finally, we arrive at phase 4, sustaining your new identity. Look, over the next 18 months of this journey, you are going to fail. It's just going to happen. So learning how to regulate your emotions is crucial to make sure you don't lose your momentum. Let's look at some highly effective cognitive behavioral therapy techniques for this. Box breathing, that physically calms your nervous system down. Labeling your emotions gives you instant mental clarity. Questioning the validity of your anxious thoughts helps you figure out what's an actual threat versus what's just your brain spinning. And engaging in physical activity simply releases pent-up stress. These tools are your safety net. They stop a single bad day from completely derailing your long-term progress. Because here is the reality we all have to accept. Failure is just an inevitable part of the journey, period. When you truly accept this as a guaranteed part of the process, rather than treating every setback like a catastrophe, it completely changes your personality from the inside out. You become highly adaptable, highly resilient, and incredibly grounded. And as you're navigating those bumps in the road, you really can't do it in a vacuum. You need to seek out honest feedback to avoid your own blind spots. Remember that iconic scene from the movie Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where Anjali shows up in that neon pink outfit? Yeah, she could have saved herself a whole lot of embarrassment if she had just asked a core group of friends for honest feedback before stepping out. You absolutely need a few trusted people you can rely on to tell you the truth. And when they do, practice gratitude. It makes you infinitely more approachable and open to growth. So we've walked through the psychology, the daily habits, the metacognition, and the deep resilience required to completely rewire who you are. The science clearly shows it takes about 1.5 years, which really just leaves us with one final, very important question for you. Are you ready to stop waiting around for a miracle and actually commit to the next 18 months to transform your personality starting today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this sparks the very beginning of your journey.